Hi, sixth grade. It's Mrs. Zimmerman and myself again.
Hello.
It is week 5, and we are excited. We heard, the end of school is going to be the 15th. Dr. Kindle hasn't asked us to go any longer this year, so you guys are really, really lucky. So let's make it a strong end to our school year. We are seeing a couple things that we wanted to talk to you about before we show today's lesson. One thing that I want to talk to you about is if you are doing a Kahoot or a quizzes, make sure you use your name, your first and last name. Because if we see somebody write something goofy and we don't know who you are, we are deleting it or ignoring it. We are not using those scores. The second thing is, if you take Kahoot or quizzes and you don't like your score, let's say it's below a 70%, which would be an F, you have the opportunity to keep retaking those quizzes until our testing window closes, and that's usually a week after Mrs. Zimmerman and I assign it. So if you get a low score, it's okay. Go back and retake it, but I would look at our videos first and make sure you understand the material before you redo it. Mrs. Zimmerman, anything else?
Yeah, actually, you guys, I have one thing I want to show you. So I'm going to pop up a different screen here, so just hold on. Okay, so you guys are all really familiar with this Google Doc, right? This is where you've been seeing all our videos, getting to the assignments, and I just want to make one thing clear for everybody. Okay, so this is the math section. Over here on this side of the table that I just highlighted blue, that is for the 6th grade math students. Over here, those of you that I just highlighted now that are typically used to modifications or you're on an IEP, anything like that, you should be doing this column over here. If you are not on an IEP, then you're doing this stuff on the left. Okay, some of you, it seems like, have kind of gotten a little confused on which one you wanted to do. So I just wanted to clarify that for you real quick.
Right. We don't want you to do both.
Right.
Double the work. I mean, you can, it's not going to hurt you, but we know you have other obligations in ELA and science and social studies. So that's what we're requiring of you.
Yeah, we don't want you to do both. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Anything else on that, Mrs. K?
No, I think that sounds good. I think that is, they can understand that.
Okay. All right, you guys, we are going to get started. So here's what we're doing this week. Hold on, as soon as it loads. All right. We are going back to graphing. Oh, I know you guys love graphing so much. So what I have right here, you have seen this before, right? This is a coordinate plane. We have our x-axis along the bottom and our y-axis going up and down right here, okay? This should be very familiar to you. The only thing we're changing is we're now using a coordinate plane that looks like this, okay? So you still have your positive numbers right here, but now that Mrs. K and I have taught you integers, right, that includes the positive and the negative, now we have negative numbers on the x and on the y, okay? It goes on both, both directions. We're going to have negative numbers. That's the only thing we're changing, all right? Okay, so when we have a coordinate plane that looks like this, it has those 4, kind of bigger squares outlined by the black lines, and we call those quadrants. This is quadrant 1. Up here, the positive and the positive is going to be quadrant 1. And then it's kind of silly, we actually work backwards. So the next one over here on the left is going to be 2. Down here is quadrant 3. And then back over here is quadrant 4. Okay? So you might be asked questions, it might be a point like right here at 4, 2, and it might say, what quadrant is that point in? Well, you would say that was in quadrant 1, however it worked for you. Okay? So.
And Mrs. Zimmerman, they're using Roman numerals that they learned when they studied Rome in
Yeah.
social studies.
Mr. Decker and Mrs. Anderson will be so proud of you because you'll know what those Roman numerals are. 1, 2,
Right.
3, and then that one's 4, right? Because V is 5 and then -1. Yeah, good point. Okay, so here's this. If you need this as a reference, you can always just slide right back to here and come look at this anytime you need to, okay? All right, we'll keep us back over here. Okay, so I've got a coordinate plane here for you. And the question I'm asking is which ordered pair corresponds to point P? Okay, so you can see point P is right here. And if you guys remember, an ordered pair, I didn't put one on here because I thought you might remember it because we've kind of done it quite a bit, is an ordered pair is two numbers in a set of parentheses. The first one is always X and the second one is always Y. So when we're looking at this, for example, A asks if we're at -3, -2. So X comes first, so I would go over here, my 0, and I would go back 3 because it's -3, so 1, 2, 3. And then my Y, which is the up and down, is -2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and we're looking at this spot right here. Okay.
That's the wrong answer, Mrs. Zimmerman.
It's the wrong answer, Mrs. K. Those two don't match, right? That is not point P. So we know it's not going to be A. Oh, look at that. I can draw. Okay, it's not going to be A. All right, let's try B. B is -3, 2. So we go back 3 because X is first. So 1, 2, 3. And then Y is 2, and that's positive. So we go up 2. 1.
Just like a thermometer.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I think you even mentioned that last time to think about it like a thermometer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's not P. So is it B?
No.
No, not B. Okay, let's try C. -2, -3. So we're going to go over 2, 1, 2, because it's negative. So we're going to go left. And it's -3 in the Y spot. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 down here. Doesn't match. So we got one more. And you guys know how to do this. We don't just assume that's what it is. We got to test it and make sure that if that's the last answer, that that's the correct one. Okay, so X -2. So we're going to go from our 0, we're going to go back to 1, 2, and then up because it's a +3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to land right there. Yay! So our answer was D on that one. So you're going to have ones like this where you have to, figure out which ordered pair matches which point. Do you have any questions on this one, Mrs. K?
I don't. Something that I do see sometimes happening with sixth graders is they forget which one comes first. So what if they forget that X comes before Y? What's our little trick? Do you know? Do you have a trick that you use?
What I told my students was to remember the alphabet. X always comes before Y in the alphabet. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you
Yep.
kids?
Yep. So X always comes before Y. So the first one is always from the X axis and the second one's always from the Y axis. And notice that the negative numbers always go left or go down, and the positive numbers always go up or to the right, just like number lines and thermometers. It's like they had a collision, a thermometer and a number line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. All right, let's try another one. So,
what's next, Mrs. Zimmerman?
All right, here's what we have next, Mrs. K. So I need to plot the ordered pair in the coordinate plane. So I got my coordinate plane over here, and we're looking for an ordered pair. So what I have here is K, and then in parentheses, I have 4, 3. So our ordered pair is what's in parentheses, and K is what that point is named. So we see that that's a positive 4, which means we're going to go over 4, because that's on the x, and then the 3 is positive, so that means we're going to go up 3. So over 4, up 1, 2, 3, right there. Let me see if I can get that pencil again. Yeah, right there. Okay,
Cool.
so there's my point, and I'm not done yet because I also have to label it K, just like that. Okay, you can't forget to label it or else I won't know which one you're talking about, right? Let's do one more. All right, we have L, and in parentheses, our ordered pair is -1, 2. All right, X comes first, because X comes first in the alphabet. That's how you can remember it. We're going to go back 1, because the 1 is negative, but the 2 is positive. So then we're going to go up 2, 1, 2, and there's my point right there. Okay, and I'm not done. I got to label it, capital L, and there you go. That's how you plot points. Okay, this should be pretty familiar to you as we've done it before. So those are all the examples I'm going to give you. If you need more, then you can just watch it over again, or Mrs. K is going to give us a couple more examples so that way we can learn a little bit more. All right, that's all I have for you guys. So you got to just check back on the next video, and Mrs. K is going to teach you some more about coordinate graphs. Okay.